What's going on, guys? I'm Lakota from Meyer Mediums, and this is vlog number 24. Does anybody else out there carry on perfectly normal, even mundane conversations with your pets as if they can understand you? Like you just come home from work and are like, hey, how's your day been? Anything interesting happened while I was gone? And then you start explaining to them that it's important that they file their taxes early, maybe even get into an argument because you've told them that they cannot have wet food 3 times a day. I'm asking for a friend. My cat, actually. She seems to think that this is signs of early onset dementia, while I am of the belief that this is perfectly normal behavior. For real, a horse and buggy just went by the house. That's Farmington, folks. There's 2 horse and buggies. Holy cow. Folks, I want to talk about a few things this week. I wanted to tell you about a book that I've been writing and illustrating, and I wanted to tell you a couple funny stories from this past week. One of those stories is about how I proved that I am a completely competent retail manager and that I care about each and every one of my employees because they are the backbone of our store and I would be lost without them. One night this past week, I was closing up shop with my crew, and when the work was done, I gathered everybody into the back so that we could all leave together. I punched in my code, let everybody out, turned around, locked the door, and went to my car. When I got to my car, I realized that I had forgotten my wallet, so I grabbed another employee because you can't go back into the store by yourself. I unlocked the door, ran back in, grabbed my wallet from my locker, and then zipped back out with time to spare because there was a security countdown. I beat the alarm system. Well, we have a young lady that works for us, a newer employee, and she's a sweet girl, but she's shy and very, very quiet. Like, I think I may have heard her say a paragraph of dialogue in the past 6 weeks. But one of the things that she said during that time period is, I feel like everybody forgets about me. And I assured her that no, absolutely not. Nobody forgets about you. You're a great employee, and we're lucky to have you here. Well, as it turns out, I did not just forget my wallet in the store that night. I forgot an entire person. I already felt bad, but what made it worse is that she gave me the play-by-play on what exactly happened when I closed the store. She poked her head through her double doors and panicked because she realized everyone left, went back to get her stuff, and clocked out. She then saw me burst back through the back door and thought, oh good, he didn't actually forget me, only to have that dream shattered as she watched from a distance while I grabbed something from my locker, turned my back on her, and left, betraying her a second time that night. When I got back to my car, I looked up and saw her standing there looking at me the way E.T. looked at his parents' spaceship when they dipped out in the beginning of the movie. From the bottom of my heart, Raylan, I am sorry. You are a wonderful worker and not forgettable. I think my cat might be right about the early onset dementia. Now I have another story about forgetfulness, and this one makes me feel a little bit better about myself. My middle child, Cordelia, she is a wonderful kid, a natural comedian, and she keeps us in stitches on the regular. But she is a sleepwalker. Now, if you have a kid that sleepwalks or you had siblings that sleepwalk, you know there's only 2 forms of sleepwalking. Disturbing Linda Blair sleepwalking and kind of funny but mostly annoying sleepwalking. My daughter has taken these 2 forms of sleepwalking and rolled them into one wild ride. She wakes up 7 days a week screaming like a banshee, wailing and speaking gibberish about things that aren't even scary. Stuff like, she said things like, I really like the cat and I want him to meet Santa Claus. And then when you finally get her calmed down, she stares off into oblivion until you help her back to bed. It's unnerving to say the least, but we've learned to just let it take its course. So one night this past week, around 2 a.m., our bedroom door swings open and I see Cordelia's shadow just stretch across the floor. She enters the room and goes to her mom's side of the bed, and she starts talking, and I can't really make out what she's saying, but I like whisper yell at her to come to my side of the bed and tell me because Jess hadn't been sleeping well and I didn't want her waking her up. So she comes to my side of the bed. I'm like, baby, what's wrong? And she says, oh, I'm hungry, but I don't want something that I have to slurp up. And I'm like, okay. She's sleepwalking. So I tell her, baby, it's not eating time. It's time to sleep. So why don't we go back to bed, okay? And she's like, I walk her back to her bed, get her in bed, and then I go back to sleep. So the next day, I come home from work, and Cordelia is sitting at the table, and I ask her jokingly, "So Cordy, did you get anything to eat last night?" And she's like, "No, I just went back to bed." And I was like, "Wait a minute, you're awake?" And she's like, "Yeah, I woke up and I was so hungry," which made me feel terrible because had I known that she was awake, I would have gotten her a snack or something. So I started to eat my lunch, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, "Wait a minute. Cordy, what did you mean by I didn't want something that I had to slurp up?" And she starts laughing and she says, "I forgot what drinking was called." So she was trying to get across the point that she was hungry and not thirsty. She wanted there to be no confusion about that, but she could not remember the term for ingesting liquids. I thought it was funny and cute. And to be fair, it was after midnight. I may from time to time forget about the humans that I am responsible for when leaving work, but at least I could remember what swallowing water is called. So to continue with the theme of forgetfulness, I'm working on a project. That project is my first physical book. It is a fully illustrated poem book entitled The Liverwurst Tree. I've been working on this for about 2 years now, and by no means should it have taken me this long, but I'm currently going back through and redoing all the illustrations digitally because whenever it comes time to publish the book, it's going to be much easier. Bottom line is, it's not a forgotten project. I'm making it a priority to release this in 2021. I have put it off for far too long. And to give you an idea of what the book is going to be like, I've decided to read 2 poems to you. Now this book is going to be mostly ridiculous limericks about trees that produce potted meat and people with 6-inch outie belly buttons, but I have sprinkled some deeper and more serious poetry throughout the pages. While I read to you, I will be showing off the artwork for the titular poem and one other. Please enjoy. The Liverwurst Tree. The liverwurst tree, for you and for me, is an old sacred plant that's bursting with meat. Covered in oil, it grows from the soil, holding its gifts inside big light gray boils. If you're feeling famished on a bright sunny day, just grab a stick and start poking away. When the meat pockets pop, the treats start to drop, down to the bottom, all the way from the top. Stand underneath and open your face, prepare to receive its hearty pink paste. It will brighten your mood as it slides down your throat. You'll gobble it up like a hungry young goat. But pace yourself, child, for I do not doubt, if you eat it too often, you're bound to get gout. Blink. Spring blew in on thunderheads. We danced out in the rain. We ran and wrestled in the fields. Our clothes were earthen stained. We trudged the creeks out in the woods like soldiers on the march, and rode our bikes on rural hills until our throats were parched. The summer brought the sun and heat. We swam the lakes and pools. The sprinkler sprayed its dewy mists in which we all stayed cool. The streetlights hum, the locusts cry, our cues to come inside, where Mom would rub the aloe on our red and sunburned hides. Autumn came with crisp relief, plucking leaves from off the trees. We raked them up in piles as they blew in on the breeze. We talked of ghouls and banshees as we dressed for Halloween, then laid awake in bed at night, afraid of the unseen. Winter fell in blankets, but not to keep us warm, and still we rode our plastic sleds through the snow and icy storm. Hot chocolate toys and silly string, when Christmas came around, kept us warm inside our home while north winds froze the town. I blinked and now those moments that I cherish to this day are left upon a distant shore from which we sailed away. At times I see them through the fog while drifting out at sea, lanterns glowing in the mist to light up memories. I see us running on the beach, our parents watch us play, and changing seasons, different times, the lamps put on display. Again I blink, the fog rolls in, I have children of my own, a wife, a job, another shore, a place to make a home. I won't forsake the time we had, the seasons that we shared, the races in the springtime rain when lightning cracked the air. The summer spent out in the sun, the autumn in the leaves, winter's hush upon the woods where we walked between the trees. I'll teach my kids to soak it in, the childhood they know, to hold each moment in their hearts and never let them go, to revel in the escapades and may their stories interlink, to appreciate the gift of youth before the day they blink. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please Leave me a like and a comment. Let me know how I'm doing and what you would like to see more of. And if you really liked the video, I post every Monday, so go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Until next time.